Welcome to my basement repository of Mustang parts. I'm just getting some more stuff in. Got a new heater core made out of aluminum, and I'm trying the one with the long tubes. I hope it works. I'm worried that the connections with the clamp and the hose will be stiff and too close to the back of the cylinder head, kinking the hose, or at least wearing it so that with the engine vibration, it might poke a hole in the hose. Don't know yet. If you've tried this, I'd like to know whether it actually works. The floor pan came, but it was damaged. Yeah, I just kept it anyway. I figure I gotta pound it and beat it into shape to make it fit the car anyway, so having it wrinkled a little bit, whatever. I'll call this video Discovery 2. I keep finding more and more stuff with the car, and I was getting pretty frustrated, I have to say. Pretty daunting task. I just did not expect this much to be wrong with the car. So my whole time frame has been messed up because there's so much work to do. But I am bent on getting it done. I've been working 12 to 14 hour days, but not today. It's 115 degrees outside. It was over 90 degrees in the shop this morning at 8 o'clock. So I'm down here in the basement making videos. I hope you enjoy this one. I'd just like to shout out to Barry and say, thanks, Barry. It's really been sort of fun, I have to say, that there's a community of people working on their Mustangs and we're all sort of pulling together. So thanks for watching. More discovery. So let me show you what I found. It's the weirdest thing. Here's my seam down here. I went ahead and peeled it out, and you can see there's just a little bit of surface rust along there, but right here you can see all the seam sealer came out. There's not a lot of rust in there though. Yeah, so here we are. I'm digging into this corner here to see how much rust I got in here. So I've decided I'm going to go ahead and pull the window out. And I don't know if I should pull the glass first or just go for the whole thing. Yeah, looking around the interior here, you'll see that all of the factory stuff is still in there. The jute back behind the rear seat, there's a wood panel there, and even when I took the metal side panels off there, the original paper vapor barriers were on there. Yeah, you'd think I'd remember how to take these out, because I obviously had to have them out when I painted the car last time. But it's only been 35 years, so what the hey. It took a little fiddling to get this window out, and I ended up marring the frame. And so on the passenger side, I taped the window frame first before I took the glass out. Once I figured it out, of course, then it was just like, oh yeah, no problem. Of the A pillar, or B pillar. See how that's kind of cobbled up there? And you can see, do they really make it look that cheap and cheesy? Is that sealer or is that metal? I don't know. I'm going to dig that out. You can see I dug that piece of sealer out of there. Now I'm assuming that's supposed to be all built up with sealer so that the water runs down that hole into the frame. It's definitely been creased down there. I'll probably find Bondo on the door too. I had no idea. So it's had a little fender bender going on there, or somebody, nailed a parking post or something. Anyway, that just makes me want to dig into it and find out what the heck is going on, because it doesn't look like they tried to work that metal at all to flatten it back out. Looks like they just left it. Whoever they are. Well, we'll see. Now I got to get the door apart and see if there's a crease that continues on up towards the front, and there's probably Bondo in the bottom of the door. I don't know. Okay. So it looks like in the bottom of that quarter they put this little wedge of seam sealer in there. You can see how it's pulled away from the body panel. So its job is to create a downslope so water that comes in around the quarter glass then runs over to a hole that goes into the middle of the frame rail, and then that's where the water drains out. If this sealer is not in place, the water sits on the welded seam and starts to rust it out, as you can see right here. Okay, we're back in the trunk again. This because I noticed a little bit of rust around this sealer right here. It's like the seam sealer. I got spots where the seam sealer is just letting go around the car. Yep, see? Right around that inner fender there. Look at that. Yep. There's a little bit of rust right there. Wow, that's a lot worse than I thought it was. Let's see what we got over here. It doesn't look much better. Well, it's a lot better shape than the other side. Indeed. Well, did I say it rains a lot in Oregon? I think I did. Wow. So much stuff. Alright, let's see what it looks like. Wow. That is way better than the other side. I'm finding, you see where they put a ton of sealer in on this body here. All over. This whole thing was covered with black tar type sealer stuff. And underneath it are these blow-throughs where they were welding. And they blew through the metal. And they just put sealer on it. No, it doesn't. I don't want to do that. Now over here, I've got some more holes that look like they started out as blow-throughs, but now, of course, they're rusting out from the hole. So I got some patching to do over here. Here's a hole over here that's just like, you know, and there's one here that's just open. And it's the same thing. The whole thing was covered with that thick tar stuff. And so I'm thinking, where's the water coming from that's supposed to, you know, do that? Over here, they didn't weld it very good. Just one little tack on the corner there. So I'm assuming my drag racing has just popped that loose. Got the same problem down in the bottom. No crease or anything, but the same problem with the sealer pulling away from the body panel. So I got my work cut out for me. There's a lot more here than I expected. And then there's this too. You know, every muffler guy that's ever worked on this thing punches his own hole in the back and makes another hole in the body. There's no support like on a GT, and even on the V8s they normally have at least one on one side or the other. I don't remember which, but on a GT there's a support that fits right in here on both sides so that the exhaust system has something to hang on rather than just punching holes in the body and then it strips out. So then they just keep getting larger and larger bolts jamming through the holes trying to make the exhaust system stay up. As you can see, there's quite a few things I got to do here to get this thing whooped back into shape. So after a little bit of cleanup, this is what this pinch weld looks like, and you can see there's been some rust erosion happening back here in this corner. It also coming out towards the rear here a little bit, and what that made me do is look up, and even though I've cleaned this up a bit, it's showing some signs of water coming in through this pinch weld here. But you can see I've had a little problem starting up there. So I'm almost thinking I got to take out this back glass and make sure there's nothing wrong in this pinch weld down here. And I may have to dig the paint out of here and check that out. first glimpse at the wheel wells. And first thing I noticed was not too much rust from this side, but as you can see, a couple of pinholes in from the trunk side. So my non-critical rust has become critical. As you can see, I've got this all cut out here. It's a little deformed right in here. I don't know where that came from. I have to make a new lip for the floor and then an extension for the inner fender. But here, it's pretty solid. So I'll whack it off there and just repair this back part, and I'll straighten up this whole kerfuffle here that they covered up with black tar sealer, including this one down here that looks suspiciously like a hole. In fact, it is a hole. It's not really a big deal, but I want to show you what was actually going on. Because of the leak on my car, the hats were not being attacked from the outside. The sealer was still good, all this coating and everything was still good, and they just had a little surface rust on them, but they look great from the outside. But if you look at the inside here, you can see what was happening was the leaks at the upper cowl was running through the center of these hats and filling up this groove. So down at the bottom here, the hat is only paper thin. And see, now they show up pretty well down in there. And you can see how eroded that is down in there. I mean, I got it kind of cleaned out, but it is just paper thin, and it just wasn't worth messing with. I could have sealed it up, but how long would the sealer last when the metal is so thin it wouldn't take anything to start it leaking again? So it just, to me, it just wasn't worth it. Just a little too much damage. Now over here on the driver's side, it looked really good on the outside here, but you can see on the inside how much of the panel was eroded away. So it was really a judgment call. The outer hat was not paper thin, but dang close. So, but I felt like this side would stay after it got sealed up, but the other side, I just didn't feel that way. Anyway, so there you go. That's the story. So there was lots of bad news as I was looking at the car, and of course I'm sharing that with you, but I thought I'd share the good news, which it's like, well, I decided that I need to practice welding, grinding, fitting panels, and oh my, do you think it needed that? How I was going to separate spot welds and you know, come up with a work ethic or a modus operandi, as it were, how I was going to get it all done. And of course, to fit pieces of sheet metal, I wanted to see how good I was at that, and I figured this is a great corner to start on rather than like, oh, the floorboards, which I've decided I'm going to replace as a one-piece unit. This gives me the opportunity to replace the transmission with a TKX. I'm running the maximum horsepower and torque that T5 can handle, and if I move the floor support and the transmission mount back 2.3 inches, I can fit that TKX in there, which would really be a great modification. Then I can fit some better tires, lower rear end gears, and crank out some lower ETs at the drag strip. Don't I look studious? Yeah, just getting it fit. Anyway, at least I wouldn't have to baby that T5 anymore. Boy, do I wish I knew how to weld better. Okay, we're gonna practice, practice, practice. That's what I need. Get up to about 40. Yes, indeed, I have run out of gas on my TIG welder. So I can't go and get any until tomorrow. But in the meantime, yeah, it's starting to look pretty good there. Well, TIG welding doesn't make it any prettier, and it actually takes longer, I think. Well, I'm not sure. It seems like per weld, I spend more time with the TIG welder, but then there's a lot less grinding, and it's stuck good and smooth. And I did have to throw in an extra patch because I blew holes in the body when the gas ran out. Here's my old battery box. Rusty spot here, so I patched the corner. And I had to put a little patch in right there because it was rusted through. But you'll notice I have converted it from the standard style with the clamp on the end. Now it's got the
those are ears done.
Little pieces on the side here. It uses this battery hold down now. So the problem was I bought one. You can buy these already made. It's got the wrong bracket on it. This bracket is made the wrong way. You can see I peeled it all apart, but it doesn't really matter. It's bent wrong. So you'd have to rework the thing to get it to go. But the big problem was this right here, the shape of the bottom of the pan, which matches this. So this pan, no matter how you try to situate it, that hole almost lines up, but not quite. But it won't bolt flat. It doesn't bolt flat or work right because this ridge here, because the bottom of the pan, this bump is too far that way. So there's no way to get it to mount up properly. So I just opted for cleaning my old one, and I'll put some Ospo and probably Rust-Oleum type product on it. But this one, get my light out of the way here, this one here, of course, fits perfectly.
I have to say, it felt good to actually get something put back together. You know, this is one of those things where when you can't unsee problems. It's not like you can, you know, ignorance may be bliss, but once you see the problem, there's no way to unsee it. You have to take care of it.
Okay, well, there it is. It ain't pretty, but it's in there.
And here's the picture of the finished product.
I hope you enjoyed the video. There probably won't be another one coming out very soon. Still waiting on parts. Oh, you can't plan it better than that. I hope you enjoyed the video. It'll be a while before another episode comes out. I'm still waiting on parts. Although there are some things that I can do. It's nice to see the car actually, little pieces of it getting put back together. That feels better. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.